It's February 23rd, 1994, and the sun's dipping low over Waikiki Beach, painting the Hawaiian sky in shades of gold and crimson. Tourists are sipping cocktails, waves are crashing gently, and the island's humming with that laid-back aloha vibe. Then, out of nowhere, a frantic emergency call shatters the peace. Black smoke's pouring out a high-end apartment on Waikiki Road, Honolulu, and the fire trucks are screaming through the streets. By 4:30 p.m., the firefighters have the blaze under control. No big damage, no neighboring units torched. Lucky break, right? Well, not quite, because when they kick down the door and start poking around, they find something that turns this little fire into a full-blown nightmare. There, stuffed inside a closet, is a woman, 56 years old, motionless, gone. Her name? Fujita Kotodome. If that doesn't ring a bell, let me clue you in. She's no ordinary Jane Doe. This lady's a Japanese psychic, a big shot seer who supposedly peeked into the future for prime ministers and corporate titans back in Japan. A woman who built an empire on fortune-telling, raking in cash like it was going out of style. And here's the kicker. They say she could predict anything, stock crashes, political scandals, you name it. Anything, that is, except the one thing that mattered most, her own death. Now, I've seen my share of crime scenes, and this one's already got my gears turning. At first, you'd think she got caught in the fire, choked out by the smoke, while hiding in that closet. Makes sense, doesn't it? But then the coroner steps in, and the plot thickens faster than molasses on a cold day. There's a bullet hole in her chest. Yeah, you heard that right. A clean shot, straight through her. This isn't some tragic accident anymore. It's murder, cold and calculated, with arson thrown in to cover the tracks. And just like that, this sleepy paradise turns into ground zero for a mystery that's about to blow up across 2 continents. Who'd want to kill a psychic? Why go to all this trouble? Gunshot, fire, the works. Was she hiding from someone? Or did they shove her in that closet to make sure she stayed quiet forever? I'm telling you, folks, we're barely scratching the surface here. This isn't just a whodunit. It's a why the hell wrapped in a what's next. Stick with me, because this story is about to take us from the beaches of Hawaii to the backstreets of Japan. And trust me, it only gets wilder from here. All right, so we got a dead psychic in a closet, a bullet in her chest, and a fire that's screaming cover up louder than a siren on a quiet night. Fujita Kotodome, the victim, isn't just some random lady who liked to read palms. She's a legend, or at least she was. Back in Japan, this woman was a household name, the kind of figure who'd show up on TV with a mysterious smile, dropping predictions that made jaws drop and wallets open. Prime ministers, CEOs of companies like Matsushita Electric. Hell, even Panasonic's roots trace back to her client list. She had them all eating out of her hand. They say she could see the future clear as day, and she turned that gift into a fortune. So how does a woman like that end up dead in a Hawaiian high-rise? With no crystal ball to warn her? Let's rewind a bit, because to crack this case, we need to know who Fujita really was. Born in 1938 in Fukushima, Japan, she didn't exactly start out on Easy Street. Her folks split when she was a kid, and she grew up dirt poor with her mom, dodging bombs during World War II. Rough gig, right? But then, at 9 years old, something weird happens. Fujita claims she wakes up one morning and there's a fox standing at the foot of her bed. Not just any fox. Mind you, she says she can talk to it. In Japanese folklore, foxes are big deal, messengers of Inari, the god of prosperity, sly and sacred. She takes this as a sign she's been tapped by the divine, gifted with the power to see what's coming. And you know what? People buy it. Her predictions start hitting the mark. Big events like the U.S.-Japan Security Treaty, the assassination of South Korea's president. And suddenly, she's not just a girl from Fukushima anymore. She's a star. By her 20s, Fujita's living the high life. She's got a gorgeous face, a sharp mind, and a knack for turning visions into cash. She marries a slick real estate guy at 23, but that crashes and burns after 3 years. No biggie. She's already rolling in dough, buying up luxury cars and a private plane like it's nothing. Word is, she even advised Japan's Prime Minister Fukuda Takeo and called shots for corporate giants. But here's where it gets dicey. Fame like that comes with enemies. And in 1968, it all comes crashing down. A steam room she'd invested in goes up in flames, killing an employee. She's slapped with a manslaughter charge, 10 months suspended, and the public turns on her. The divine seer who couldn't foresee a fire? Yeah, that didn't sit right. Her career tanks, and by 1970, she's out, packs up, moves to Hawaii with a kid in tow, Fujita Goro, her 20-year-old son, and drops off the radar. Until now, back to the crime scene. It's February 23rd, 1994, and the Honolulu PD's got a murder on their hands. First thing they notice, Goro's nowhere to be found. He lived with his mom in that fancy Waikiki pad, but when the fire broke out, he's AWOL. Cops can't reach him, and that's raising eyebrows. Dig a little deeper, and you find out Goro's not her biological kid, adopted, or so the story goes. He's a young guy, 20, hanging with a rough crowd, the kind of pals who borrow cash and forget to pay it back. Goro's been hitting up mom for money, but Fujita's had enough. She tightens the purse strings, and he's pissed. Neighbors say they've heard shouting matches between them lately. So here's the theory floating around the precinct. Maybe Goro snapped. Maybe he grabbed a gun, shot her, then torched the place to cover it up. Makes sense, right? A spoiled kid, a fight over cash, a desperate move. Except there's one problem. If Goro's our guy, where the hell is he? The cops are just starting to chase that lead when the phone rings again. 10:30 p.m., same day. Another fire, this time at a hotel parking lot 5 kilometers away. A red car's blazing, and when they put it out, there's a body inside. Hands and feet tied, a bullet through the chest, just like Fujita. And guess who it is? Fujita Goro. Yep, the prime suspect's now a victim, dead within hours of his mom. 2 murders, 2 fires, same MO. This isn't a coincidence. It's a pattern. Someone's tying up loose ends, and fast. Now, I've been around the block enough to know this changes everything. Goro didn't kill his mom and then off himself, not with his hands tied like that. Someone else is pulling the strings here. Someone who wanted both Fujitas out of the picture. But why? Was it personal? Business? Or something bigger? The cops are scrambling, and the media's going nuts. Japan's losing its mind over their fallen prophet, and Hawaii's turning into a circus. Me? I'm thinking this is just the tip of the iceberg. A psychic with a past like hers doesn't die quietly. And a kid like Goro doesn't end up roasting in the car without a damn good reason. We've got a killer out there, and they're not done yet. Hang tight. This rabbit hole is about to get a whole lot deeper. So, we've got 2 bodies, 2 fires, and a whole lot of questions. Fujita Kodatome's dead in her closet. Goro's charred in the car, and the Honolulu PD scratching their heads trying to connect the dots. This isn't some random crime spree. It's surgical, deliberate. Same gunshot wounds, same torch job cleanup. Whoever did this isn't messing around, and they've got a plan. But who? Goro was our first suspect, but with him dead, the trail's gone cold. Until a new name pops up, and trust me, this guy's got trouble written all over him. Let's backtrack a sec. Before the fire at Fujita's place, someone made a call to the Japanese consulate. Turns out it was a bank employee, spooked after talking to Fujita earlier that day. She'd rung them up, demanding $20,000 in cash delivered to her door. Said it was urgent, something about saving someone. But here's the creepy part. The banker heard another voice in the background, speaking Japanese, and it didn't sound friendly. Red flags everywhere. The bank doesn't do house calls, so they tip off the consulate. Consulate sends someone to check on her, and bam, smoke's billowing out the windows. That's when the emergency call went out. So, was Fujita being threatened? Was she trying to pay off a blackmailer? It's a juicy lead, but it doesn't tell us who pulled the trigger. Enter Fusu Saku Raita, 28 years old Japanese and a walking red flag. He's Goro's buddy, part of the same dive club, and he's got a rap sheet that'd make your grandma clutch her pearls. Multiple arrests for illegal weapons possession, plus a habit of borrowing money from Fujita and conveniently forgetting to pay her back. Sound familiar? Same deal as Goro's deadbeat pals. Word is, Fujita wasn't thrilled about Raita's influence on her kid. She'd been trying to keep Goro away from that crowd. And get this, the day after the murders, Raita strolls into a pawn shop 300 meters from Fujita's place, unloading a haul of women's jewelry for $2,000. The shop owner recognizes the stuff. It's Fujita's. Cops check her apartment, and sure enough, it's been tossed. Jewelry, valuables, gone. Ryder's looking real good for this. Folks, but it gets better or worse, depending on how you see it. That same day, Ryder drops $1,800 on a one-way ticket to Japan and bolts. If that doesn't scream guilty, I don't know what does. The cops are pissed. They've got a suspect, solid motive, money, revenge, take your pick, and a trail leading straight to Tokyo. Problem is, he's a Japanese citizen, and extraditing him back to the U.S. is a legal nightmare. Japan's not keen on handing over their own unless the evidence is ironclad, and both crime scenes are a mess, burned, soaked, and short on fingerprints. They need more than a hunch and some pawn trinkets to nail this guy. Here's where I start piecing it together. Picture this. Ryder's desperate for cash. Maybe he's in debt. Maybe he's just greedy. He leans on Goro, who leans on Fujita, but she's done bailing them out. Things get heated. Ryder's got a gun. Those priors don't lie, and he's not afraid to use it. Maybe he goes to her place, demands money, and when she says no, he shoots her. Panics, stuffs her in the closet, sets the fire. But Goro's a loose end. He knows too much. So Ryder lures him out, ties him up, pops him, and torches the car. Grabs what he can from the apartment, pawns it, and hightails it out of Dodge. Clean, simple, ruthless. Fits the timeline, fits the evidence. Except, I'm not sold yet. Why the closet? Why not just leave her where she fell? And that call to the bank, what's the 20 grand for? Was someone else in the room with her? Or was Ryder playing both puppet and master? The consulate guy heard a voice, but we don't know whose. Could be Ryder. Could be someone else pulling strings we haven't seen. And then there's Fujita's past. Big clients, big secrets. You don't hobnob with prime ministers without stepping on some toes. Maybe this isn't just about a broke dive club punk. Maybe it's bigger. The cops are stuck. Ryder's in Japan, laughing at them from across the Pacific, and they're drowning in ash and dead ends. But they're not giving up. Not with a case this hot. They've got a name, a face, and a hunch that won't quit. What they need now is proof. Something solid to drag this guy back to Hawaii and slap cuffs on him. Lucky for them. Help's on the way. And it's coming from a guy who knows how to turn ashes into answers. We're about to meet a game changer, folks. So don't blink. Okay, we're knee-deep in this mess now. 2 dead Fujitas, a suspect named Ryder who skipped town, and a case that's got more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese. The Honolulu PD's tearing their hair out. Both crime scenes are toast. Literally. Thanks to fire and water, and Fujita's fancy apartment doesn't even have hallway cameras. You'd think a place that's swanky would have eyes everywhere. But nope, they've got Ryder in their sights. Sure, but he's holed up in Japan, and without hard evidence, extradition's a pipe dream. That's when they call in the big guns. Dr. Lee Swan-nak, a forensic wizard who's about to turn this chaos into clarity. Dr. Lee's the kind of guy you want on your team when the chips are down. He's Vietnamese by birth, American by trade, and a genius at digging truth out of ashes. The cops are desperate. They've got a theory, but no smoking gun. Literally, in this case, since the gun's MIA. What they do have is Ryder's shady moves. The pawn jewelry, the plane ticket, the weapons history. It's a start, but it's circumstantial. Dr. Lee doesn't mess around, though. He hits the ground running, and his first stop is Ryder's building. Unlike Fujita's place, this dump's got cameras, and they're about to spill the beans. Here's the play-by-play, straight from the tapes. At 9:28 a.m. on February 23rd, Goro and Ryder step into the elevator together, heading up to Ryder's 13th floor apartment. They're chatting, casual, like it's just another day. That's the last time anyone sees Goro alive on camera. Fast forward to 12:55 p.m. Ryder's back in the elevator, alone, carrying a beat-up bag. 3 hours later, 3:54 p.m., he strolls in again, same bag, but now it's bulging like he just hit the jackpot. Cops figure that's when he raided Fujita's place. Jewelry, cash, whatever he grabbed after popping her. By 5:35 p.m., he's borrowing a car from the building manager, and at 9:15 p.m., He's pushing something big wrapped in a white sheet. Looks like a body, doesn't it? Then, 9:46 p.m., he's driving off with a lump in the passenger seat. Goro, tied up and done for. Car burns at 10:30 p.m., 5 kilometers away. Timeline's tight, but it tracks. Dr. Lee's not stopping there. He's got a hunch that cart's a gold mine. Sure enough, they find it stashed in the garage. Blood smears all over it. DNA comes back, Goro's. Then they hit Ryder's apartment. There's a rug with a chunk hacked out, blood on the edges. Goro's again. But the real jackpot's in the basement. Ryder dumped a sofa down there the next morning, 8:24 a.m., probably thinking trash pickup would take care of it. Wrong move, pal. Cops haul it in, and it's a mess. Bloodstains galore, Goro's naturally. A bullet lodged in the cushions and a long hair. Bullet matches the one from Fujita's chest. Same scratches, same gun. Hair? Fujita's. Dr. Lee figures it got tangled on Goro during a struggle, carried back to Ryder's place. It's a slam dunk. Let's paint the picture. Ryder lures Goro to his place that morning, maybe with a promise of cash or a dive trip. They head to Fujita's, looking for a score. She resists. Ryder shoots her, stuffs her in the closet, torches the place. Back at his pad, Goro's freaking out. Maybe he didn't sign up for murder. Ryder ties him up, shoots him on the sofa, wraps him in the rug, carts him to the car and burns it. Cleans up, pawns the loot, and jets off. It's brutal, efficient, and damn near airtight, until Dr. Lee cracked it wide open. October 11th, 1994. The evidence hits Japan like a freight train. Ryder's hauled back to Hawaii, kicking and screaming. Trial's a circus. He admits to dumping Goro's body, but swears he didn't kill anyone. Even pulls an alibi. Security footage from a supermarket at 10:34 p.m., 3 kilometers from the car fire at 10:30 p.m. For minutes to get there, his lawyer says it's impossible. Prosecutors fire back. No traffic, no red lights, it's doable. Plus, the DNA, the bullet, the hair, it's a mountain of proof. August 23rd, case closed. 2 counts of second-degree murder, life in prison. Hawaii doesn't do death row, so Ryder's rotting behind bars. But here's where I squint. Ryder's alibi is thin, sure, but it nags at me, and he's sticking to his story, even years later. 2013, 20 years in, he's still saying he didn't do it, that he was scared for his girl and family. Fujita's past, too, those bigwig clients, that steam room scandal. Feels like there's more under the hood. Was Ryder the trigger man, or just a fall guy? Dr. Lee gave us a how, but the why's still murky. Time to dig into Fujita's life, because this prophet's secrets might just blow the lid off everything. Ryder's locked up, case closed, right? Not so fast. I've been chewing on this one, and something's off. The evidence is tight. Blood, bullets, cameras. But Ryder's playing a martyr, claiming he's innocent, even decades later. And Fujita Korodome? She's not just a victim. She's a puzzle. A woman who went from rags to riches, hobnobbing with Japan's elite, only to crash and burn. Twice. First in '68 with that steam room fire. Now in '94 with a bullet. You don't live a life like hers without picking up skeletons in your closet. And I'm betting those bones are rattling loud enough to wake the dead. Let's rewind to Fujita's glory days. By the 1960s, she's a rock star, gorgeous, charismatic, and spitting out predictions like a human slot machine. Japan-U.S. treaties, assassinations, royal weddings, she nails them, and the checks roll in. She's at a mansion, 5 cars, a plane, and a client list that reads like a who's who of power players. Prime Minister Fukuda Tako, Matsushita's top brass. They're all in her orbit. But that kind of clout comes with strings. Rumors swirl that she kept a diary, scribbling down every dirty little secret her VIPs spilled during sessions. Affairs, bribes, backroom deals, stuff that could topple empires. When she bolts to Hawaii in 1970, word is she's planning to spill it all. That a motive right there. Someone with deep pockets and deeper grudges wanting her silenced. Then there's Goro. Official story says he's adopted, but whispers say different. Picture this. Fujita's young, stunning, and cozy with politicians in her prime. Maybe Goro's not a charity case. Maybe he's a love child, a secret son of some big shot. She flees Japan, raises him in Hawaii, keeps him close. Could explain why she stayed rich even after her career tanked. No BOI tone gigs, yet she's still flush. Political hush money? If Goro's a walking scandal, killing them both ties up a messy loose end. Suddenly, Ryder looks less like a mastermind and more like a hired gun, or a patsy. Or maybe it's darker. Fujita worked for a finance firm in Hawaii, one tied to shady dealings. Counterfeiting with North Korea? Some say. Word is she skimmed 150 million yen and couldn't pay it back. 2 months after murders, the firm's director drops dead. Coincidence? I don't buy it. Mob hits don't mess around. 2 bullets, 2 fires. Sounds like their style. Ryder could have been their muscle, or just the guy they framed when it went south. Back to 1994. The trial's done, but the questions linger. Ryder's cagey. Says he's protecting his ex and family. Won't spill more. Japan's buzzing with theories. Political revenge, mob cleanup, a diary worth killing for. No diaries ever found, though, and the cops didn't spot a third player at the scenes. Officially, Ryder's the guy. Dr. Lee's evidence sealed it. But I've got this itch. What if he's telling the truth? What if someone bigger's laughing from the shadows? Fujita's life was a roller coaster. Poverty, war, visions, fame, disgrace, exile. She clawed her way up, only to fall hard. Maybe she conned her way to the top. Maybe she really saw the future. Either way, her end's a tragedy or a reckoning. Ryder's in a cell, but the real story? It's still out there, buried in secrets she took to her grave. So here we are, folks, the end of the line. Ryder's doing life. Fujita and Goro are 6 feet under, and the headlines have faded. But this case? It's a ghost that won't quit haunting. A psychic who couldn't dodge her own bullet. A kid caught in the crossfire, and a killer who swears he's innocent. It's the kind of story that sticks with you, makes you wonder what's real and what's smoke. Let's wrap it up and see what we've learned, because there's more to this than just a verdict. Fujita Kododome lived big, rags to riches, famed infamy. She played the game, danced with power, and paid the price. Was she a fraud who got lucky, or a seer cursed by her own gift? Doesn't matter now. She's gone and her secrets went with her. Goro's a question mark. Son, pawn or both? Ryder's the fall guy, pinned by evidence that's hard to argue with, but his pleas nag at me. Maybe he's a monster. Maybe he's a scapegoat. The truth's a shadow we can't quite catch. What's the takeaway? Greed's a killer, literal and figurative. Ryder might have chased cash and lost his soul. Fujita chased glory and lost her life. Power's a double-edged sword. Cut too deep, and it cuts back. And don't judge too quick. Rumors fly, but facts are slippery. This tale's a warning. Fame and fortune are traps, and the higher you climb, the harder you fall. The case is closed, but the mystery lingers. Who really pulled the strings? We'll never know for sure. So long. Fujita, your story's a hell of a ride, and I'm still wondering what you saw coming.